All right, it's Sunday night, another great day of NBA playoff basketball. So you know what that means. It's time for another episode of Before the Buzzer. Thank you to the boys for our buzzer there, and welcome to episode 13 of the Before the Buzzer podcast, boys. Not a very packed day of games, just one game today, Orlando versus the Cavs. You know, kind of a choke there from Orlando, but how are we doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Calm, yeah.
Just one game today. Not really the outcome I wanted, but in the long run, it doesn't really matter too much.
But did you get your bread up today though, on the prize picks?
I didn't bet today. I woke up too late.
But you still got your bread up though in the IRL, so that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
What about you, Pritch?
Stack those papers. Yeah, we're doing good. Been a long week. Excited to be back with the gentlemen to discuss a lot of NBA basketball.
All right, well, we'll get to that Orlando-Cleveland game a little bit later, but we got to start with the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Great game one all around. I think it lived up to expectations. Certainly seemed like Denver didn't want to show up. I mean, you know, they pulled the Lakers series thing on us where they just don't show up in the first quarter. Oh, here comes the big Denver run. And then they just got outplayed in the fourth quarter. You know, Denver wants to come out here and dominate against the Lakers. Jamal Murray, where he showed up in the third and fourth, but 0 points in the first half. I mean, what are we doing here, Pritch? What did you see from Minnesota and their ability to kind of slow down Denver? And do you think that trend will continue throughout the series and Minnesota will be able to come up with a shocking upset win here?
It is a very weird matchup for Denver in a lot of ways because Minnesota has so many bigs and they have the depth of bigs that Denver just don't have, right? With Denver, you're pretty much just rocking with Jokic and then Gordon, I guess, here and there. You can't play DeAndre Jordan in a playoff game in 2024. So they haven't really got much outside of him, right? Which means that when Naz Reid's in there, he can cook. He can cook tired guys. Naz Reid, 6th man of the year. This Minnesota team is dangerous for the Nuggets. I saw Denver in 7, but this is a really surprising win for me because, you know, Denver, they're amazing at home. And to see them steal game 1 on the road is really impressive from Minnesota.
Cheyenne, were you surprised by this effort? Because, I mean, I saw it. You saw it during the Lakers series where it seemed like the same Denver, a little bit of, you know, maybe a lackadaisicalness. But I was like, all right, well, the Lakers were their warm-up series, right? Now they'll get into it. They'll be the Nuggets again and didn't show up again. What do you make of that first game?
Yeah, I don't think Denver can keep going through every single round of the playoffs, every single game, basically just starting down 10-0 of every game. Because that's how they played. They've had to come back every single game of the playoffs. And against this Minnesota team where they have lots of big men depth, like Rich said, the Nuggets don't really have anything that could really match that, you know. When Jokic is off the floor, they're gonna get out rebounded. They're gonna the Timberwolves are just too physical with them. They got too many long defenders on Jamal Murray. They got Jaden McDaniels. They got Anthony Edwards. We saw what they did to him his first scoreless half of his playoff career. And I think it's dangerous, but I still got Denver in 6.
Well, okay, so Alex, I was watching a little bit of the game there, especially towards the end. And, I mean, just looking at the stats, Jokic takes 25 shots, which, you know, is quite a bit. And for a guy that seems to be a playmaker on that team, offense runs through him, felt like he was a little bit sped up throughout that game, maybe because of, you know, like we mentioned earlier, all the different bodies they were able to throw at him. What do you make of, you know, his pace during the game and how he was really focused on being a scorer, but maybe wasn't able to get his teammates as involved throughout that game?
Yeah, he was definitely getting sped up. I think he was still Jokic. He was still moving he was still controlled, but he was still a little bit sped up. And you could tell that when you were watching the game. You see he was a little uncomfortable. You had guys like Naz Reid really hounding him, and Cat as well. And, you know, they're both kind of big bodies. They're hard to you know, get past. And with Gobert, he has to be the scorer on this team. You know, he has to be the offensive guy that you know, obviously he can do this, but it's not what he enjoys doing. You know, he shot 9 threes, 2 for 9, which is not exactly characteristic of Jokic. He loves getting inside. He loves getting those easy shots, those little teardrop kind of floaters, or, you know, those tiny little like fadeaways. But yeah, it is a very weird matchup for Jokic. As a team, the Nuggets shot 1 for 8 from the mid range. I think they really need to work on that efficiency, especially if you're having, if you're putting Cat and in drop coverage, stuff like that. You need Jamal Murray to be clutch like he was against the Lakers and really take advantage of that. And then Jokic, of course, he's amazing in the mid range. So that's going to be one of the keys to the series, I think, as well as also Aaron Gordon establishing a kind of shooting threat. Because right now they have Gordon in the corner and Gobert. It doesn't really care about him because he's being guarded by him because you kind of Gobert on Jokic, right? So if Gordon has to hit those threes for them to really make it a problem for Gobert and to force some kind of switch in matchups or game plan from Minnesota.
And then, finishing off here, I know you talked about it last week. A little hot take from you was Anthony Edwards has the tools. You didn't say he was going to be, but he has the tools to be one of the greatest shooting guards of all time. You even mentioned has a chance to be better than Kobe. What'd you see out of this performance? I know it's just one game. It doesn't, it's not a real checkpoint yet. He has to still, get by Denver in this series, I feel like, for it to be a real monumental checkpoint. But what did you see out of him in that game one where it goes for like 42, 43 points? And I think the biggest part was taking over in the clutch and really grasping that game, taking it away from Denver and being able to steal that game on the road.
I saw him go toe to toe with Jokic and beat him in a clutch situation. Like, guys just don't do that. You know what I mean? LeBron couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something that
it was one game, buddy.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that there's a mental element to it too, where this guy he doesn't back down to anybody. He can really overcome anybody. It's like a close game in the middle of the fourth, and he just takes over. And that's something like he's all the checkpoints that I mentioned last week, where he's on his way to be better than Kobe, on his way to be one of these top all-time guys. He's kind of fulfilling it right now. He's showing that he can be the guy on a really dangerous team that looks like they could legitimately beat the favorite. And I think you see the dominance of his scoring and how physically guys just can't guard it. Guys like KCP are just bouncing off of him. And KCP's a pretty elite defender, I think it's fair to say, especially on the perimeter. He's a guy that going into the series, you would think, if anyone, had a good chance to slow him down. Now I think you're going to have to put someone like Aaron Gordon on him. And that's going to be, or Payne Walton, something like that. You're going to have to really reevaluate your defense because he's kind of unguardable. He's so strong as a guard. He really looks like 06 Wade to me. Like this kind of smaller guard who just gets to the basket at will and create any shot he wants. He's surrounded by legitimate, good role players who can help him get to maybe even a championship. Again, it's just one game, so we don't know. Denver's still probably going to bounce back from this very well, but you never know with these things. And Anthony, if Ant is able to beat Denver, it's good to say a lot about how he is as a star and how he's going to be perceived going forward.
All right. I mean, impressive win there for Minnesota, but I think it's time we go now to the top part of the bracket here. You have OKC and obviously the Mavericks matching up. I want to focus on that first round series, though, between the Mavericks and the Clippers. Cheyenne, Kyrie put them night, man. Kyrie ended the Clippers season. I know Lakers fans probably happy about that. I know you were kind of high on the Mavs, but I want to focus on the Kyrie Irving element here because it's really interesting. I think it's fair to say this is probably the best ball we've seen out of Kyrie Irving in the past 3-4 years. I mean, he had his moments, but in this series specifically, feels like this year actually, he's just put all the off the court stuff behind him. He's really focused on ball, and I mean, it's been incredible to watch. Obviously, all the focus is on Luka. I think everyone agrees Luka's going to be a great player. He already is a great player in this league, but Kyrie Irving, it was even mentioned on the broadcast. He's kind of accepted that Luka might be the head guy here, but he still has a role to play, and he's accepted that role. What have you made of Kyrie's performance? And do you agree that this is the best basketball that we've seen out of him in the past 4 to 5 years?
I think this is the best basketball we've seen in the past 4 to 5 years because there's no more distractions. There's no more off the court stuff that we have to think about with Kyrie Irving. We just know he's just strictly there, just playing basketball, and he's doing it at the highest level right now. We always say how could the Mavs let Jalen Brunson go, who's obviously turned into the star, but Kyrie Irving's been almost just as good. He's been as good as you could want from a number 2 next to Luka Doncic. He led the league in like fourth quarter scoring, and that really showed that when Luka wasn't having like the most efficient games or like his typical like Luka games, Kyrie could still like put on his little backpack and like carry some of the load and help him out. And Luka hasn't really had that past couple of years, and even like his early stages in the playoffs with Dallas against the Clippers. But I also really wanted to say how disappointing it was out of the Clippers. Mostly Kawhi Leonard, though.
Well,
Just because, like,
injuries did catch up to him again here in the playoffs.
this is like the third year in a row.
I mean, we know this at this point. It's just who he is. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of, he's very talented, but he's just someone you can't really trust physically. And it's the same with there's been tons of other players in NBA history who have been in the same predicament where when they're at their best, you can win a championship with them when they're not hurt, right? But when they're hurt and it's just such a lottery with them, and it's the Clippers keep getting fucked over, just because it's not necessarily their fault. It's just he keeps getting hurt at the wrong time, and it's when he did play, he struggled. It was obvious he was hurt.
Yeah.
So now you're faced with this weird predicament of what to do because you have like Paul George could leave in the summer. Harden's going to keep progressing as a scorer. You're going to have, your role players. You don't know what's going to happen with them. They have a good role player, but guys are probably going to get priced out, or they're going to have to trade some guys, move some guys on. It's a pretty pivotal offseason, I think, for the Clippers in terms of setting the direction, because right now they just aren't going to be a contender without some kind of big moves or big decisions in their way.
A lot of questions for the Clippers. I mean, you just look at the head coach. I mean, is it time? A lot of Clippers fans, I know many regard Tyronn Lue as one of the top coaches in the NBA. I'm sure my Lakers would be happy.
What would change, though? Like, what would change if Tyronn Lue gets
I'm
fired?
saying there's
nothing changes.
I'm not saying I would fire Tyronn Lue.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just think
there are rumblings that Tyronn Lue might get let go. I mean, I don't know if it's the right
decision.
Better
than Ty Lue? That's the thing. Like, I just don't see a world where they should do that.
Well, sometimes it's not even about getting better. I mean, it's about a fresh voice in the locker room.
Darvin Ham. I mean, what can you do?
You mention Darvin Ham?
I'm saying, like, that's a fresh voice they could bring in. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like he's such a talented coach, unless like someone like a Frank Vogel comes available, or
Oh well, Frank Vogel will be available. Frank Vogel will be available. I'm telling you.
I'm sure. Yeah, but unless like. And even then, I think Ty Lue's a better coach than Vogel. I mean, not many coaches in the NBA have won a championship.
I agree. I think Ty Lue is a great coach.
I just don't see. Yeah, from the coach side, unless you're completely rebuilding and you want a young coach and all that shit, like, and they're not going to do that because they have the new arena. They're not going to trade all their guys. And but yeah, I just don't see a world where I think that's the thing. NBA teams, I think they blame the coaches way too often for the stars and anything like that because like. What can he do in this situation? His best players are all hurt.
He's put in an impossible situation here.
Westbrook was 4 for 32. He was April 32nd. You know what I'm saying? Like he can't be helped. But that's not his that's not his fault. You know what I mean? Like there's a real limit to what he can do as a coach. At the end of the day, it's up to the players to execute. And
I mean, you saw how desperate he was getting. I mean, PJ Tucker started that. PJ Tucker
that last game
of the series. I mean, it was crazy, but I think you do bring up a solid point there of coaches receiving a lot of the blame, but I think another side of that is maybe coaches need more respect when things go right. Look at Jason Kidd with the Mavs. I mean, everyone was like, "Oh, this thing isn't going to work out." Last year, they're like, "Jason Kidd, man, can't figure it out defensively. These guys are not going to be able to figure it out. They missed the playoffs. This year, come back. Maybe it just took some time for that backcourt to gel."
To be fair, I think maybe that's more of just like the trades they made, especially after the deadline.
Well, yeah,
they fixed a lot of problems.
I think
that's more of a front office thing.
I think Kidd caught a lot of flack though off the back half of that trade just being made to bring in Kyrie Irving, where they didn't really have time to develop that chemistry, and now you're kind of seeing it come to fruition to where Kyrie knows when to pick his spots. Now Kyrie knows that he can be the closer in those moments, like he was in Cleveland, where LeBron might be the guy or Luka might be the guy, but hey, in the clutch, Kyrie, you can be the guy to go take that big shot. I mean,
Jamal, yeah.
I mean, that 3-pointer he hit the other day, like fading away, like towards the end of the game, just unbelievable. The layup. I mean, Kyrie's just in his bag right now, and it's just amazing to see. But I think now we look long term with the Mavericks. Okay, they're facing an OKC team that definitely has some rest after playing the New Orleans Pelicans, who, as Charles Barkley said, are hanging out in Galveston, Texas. A pitiful performance. But Mavs, OKC, pretty interesting series here. I know I've been high on the Mavs. I think I would take them in the series over OKC. Cheyenne, I know you've been high on the Mavs. Alex, you've kind of been the guy that's stuck true to OKC. You've believed in them all year. How do you figure this series to shape up?
I just think the Mavericks bigs get played off the floor against Holmgren, and they don't have the scoring punch to really take advantage of him inside. I think this is a pretty bad matchup for Dallas in that sense because because that's your biggest skill set where you have these really strong bigs, this really good rotation, and you're kind of having you have to sacrifice that, play guys like PJ Washington at the 5, who then don't have the size to keep up with someone like Holmgren, who's so big and he's so good at attacking and scoring and stuff like that, is in addition to his defensive capabilities. And I just think it's a really good matchup for OKC. I think people are kind of forgetting that, where I think OKC was struggling against Denver or Minnesota, but this is probably the best case scenario for them, just because I think they have good defenders with Luka and Kyrie, guys like Shea, guys like Dort. The Dort to Chamber is back. And then you have guys like Jalen Williams who can help with the scoring if Shea has to kind of do more defensive work. I just think it's a great matchup, and I think I have the Thunder in 6. I think they have a really strong home court advantage as well. I just don't see
True.
the Magic.
I mean, we forget during those old playoff runs with the Thunder, not even the 2014, even the Russell Westbrook, and hit just when it was Russell Westbrook, those playoffs runs were with that crowd. So I think you bring up a good point with that home court advantage.
Yeah, for sure. And I just think that in general, it's a good series for the OKC. I like guys like Aaron Wiggins. I think it's a good series. Isaiah Joe, I think as well as Dallas don't have the best defense, I think it's really going to play into OKC's strengths on the offensive end, having so many shooters, so many capable offensive players. Even guys like Gordon Hayward, who are just like capable offensive players, who know what they're doing. I think he's really going to shine in the series, or just have like an impact, bigger impact than New Orleans. And yeah, I really like this series. And it really also depends on the Mavericks role players too, because I mean, this could all be bullshit if Tim Hardaway shoots like 60% from 3 in the series, because that's something he's capable. He's a very tricky guy. He's capable of doing. You just don't know with these things. It's really come down to the role players on both ends. But I think I have Thunder in 6.
All right, Cheyenne, give me the rebuttal. Why are the Mavericks winning the series?
I mean, their 2 best players are just better. That's just what it comes down to.
Shea? You think Kyrie's better than Shea?
No. I mean, their 2 best players are better than the Thunder 2 best players.
Yeah, but role players. There's a top 2, and then
you could have Shea, but the thing is, Kyrie's so much better than Jalen Williams or Chet.
Jalen Williams,
whoever you want to say.
I think Jalen Williams is better than you think he is. I think he's legitimate, like
Kyrie better.
Guy.
Kyrie Irving is better than way more better than what you think Jalen Williams is.
No, Jalen Williams is a very good player. I think he's something that can have a great series. I think that's true, but I think you have to look at the whole picture, right? Again, as we see with the Lakers, having the 2 elite players doesn't necessarily lead to playoff success. You need to have a team around him who can hit shots and be consistent. I think OKC
and that's
very
the thing.
consistent.
I also think they finally have the best team, like the best overall team around Luka too. They got 2 good lob threats around him. They got the floor space. What?
Who are going to get played off the court because of home?
All right, bro. We act like Chet makes like 7 threes a game, my guy. Bro, he averages like 12 points. Mike Muscala,
yeah, but it's the fact that
that's what we're worried about.
Yeah.
Okay, what about defensively with Mike Muscala?
Yeah, he is pretty great. But I'm saying with Chet, I think just having the fact that he's such a threat out there, he's such a complete shooter at his size, it's going to they're going to have a lot of 5-out actions, I think. OKC, they have such a good offense already. Shea's so good at getting the paint where they're going to have to collapse, and they're going to have to either let Shea get his buckets inside, get his free throws, or they're going to have to live and die with Holmgren shooting and then attacking the advantages on the outside. I mean, I just think it's a very weird series unless for Dallas, where they kind of have to go play like a Maxi Kleber or even someone like.
Maxi Kleber's hurt for the series.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say.
I mean, yeah,
I was gonna be like, that's a big loss for them because he's been really good for the Clippers series.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to look at PJ Washington, and then otherwise you're giving up a big advantage. Lively is very raw. He's very good at what he does, but I don't necessarily trust him defensively in this series. I don't trust Gafford. He's a good player, but again, I don't necessarily trust him in this situation. He's also a bit small too, but still, he's a very good big. But I just think this isn't maybe the series for him compared to like Clippers, where it was a great series for them, like matchup wise. But yeah, I just think that OKC is superior role players, and I think their stars can really compete on any given night with Dallas' stars. They have a more rounded team. Team
I mean,
basketball.
Also, in coaching matchup here, Alex, remind me how to pronounce the OKC coach's name.
Dagnall.
Dagnall. Okay, I didn't want to mess it up. I didn't want to mess it up. But Dagnall versus Kid,
like
Kid hasn't coached a really long time for an extensive period of time, but he does have that playoff experience. Dagnall, interesting upbringing. I mean, Alex, do you want to tell a story really quick? Because I think it's pretty interesting. Starts as a team manager and then becomes
he was at UConn,
coach.
wasn't he? Team manager at UConn, just like Chris at Davis, and then he kind of rose through the ranks. Well, he coached in the G League, right? Which G League team was it? Was it the OKC team or was it?
I think it was
OKC one.
Okay, yeah, but like he's had a really
Homegrown.
interesting. I kind of think it's really.
But I mean, this is a big.
He's only 39
too, though.
He's a young guy.
Well, He fits the bill of the team, right? They're a young team, and they kind of need a young voice there. But interesting first, big time coaching matchup here where he's going to be tested. I mean, he's got the number 1 seed and home court advantage, but this is a Dallas team that I think anyone could argue is one of the hottest, if not the hottest team in the league right now. But speaking of coaching, matchups and stuff, we have to head to the East now. Game today between Orlando and the Cavs. I want to say first, credit to Jamal Mosley for getting this team to a Game 7. I really didn't think they were good enough to get to a Game 7. Somehow they found themselves there today with a double-digit lead at the half, but Orlando was unable to kind of secure that series out. I think this is, a good sign for Orlando for the future, but shifting towards the Cavs here, I feel like this kind of is indicative of where they're at right now, down double digits at the half in a Game 7 to Orlando. Not really a great look for them, and I don't think they have very much of a chance here against Boston, and it kind of leaves questions of where they go with the future here because Donovan Mitchell's, rumored to go somewhere else, maybe the Lakers, who knows. But there's a lot of question marks there with that team. They're kind of in the middle right now. They were at a point where it's like, okay, we're growing, we're getting better and better, and now they've kind of hit the speed bump to where we're kind of middle of the pack and we're not really competing with the top teams. I think if you have a healthy Milwaukee and a healthy Philly, I think they're both better than Cleveland. So where do they go from here?
I don't think there's really much they can do because the Mobley Allen thing, I feel like they can't really go too far, at least not without Mobley developing like a reliable jump shot from 3. Because we've seen throughout the series, like kind of getting exposed, and even last year against New York, and played that well. And their bench is pretty bad. They don't really have much spacing. They have like Isaac Okoro off the bench. He can't really shoot.
They do have Max Truss and he's stars.
Dr.
They have like Sam Merrill. Yeah, they have Sam Merrill. They have their benches. I think Georges Niang the truck.
All right, Brad. Georges.
But yeah, I mean the thing with the Cavs is just the Garland Mitchell thing doesn't work, and then the Mobley Allen thing doesn't work, which means that you're a very weird team. And Allen is out. He was out today, so they did look a bit more fluid offensively. You're going to win these games against a young Magic team just because of Mitchell's dominance, but like they have no chance in hell against Boston. I mean, I think that's pretty fair to say. They're going to be some really tough decisions in the summer, and with Mitchell up for an extension, which sounds like he's not going to sign, I think they're going to have to move on from him. But I guess I'll figure out after the series. But yeah, I guess we turn to the Magic now.
Well, the Garland piece is interesting here because Garland was an all-star last year, right? And it seemed like
before Mitchell got traded.
2 years ago. And it felt like he was on this upward trajectory of being one of the top guards in the league. And now, as you mentioned, they bring in Donovan Mitchell. It felt like he's taken a step back. So it becomes a question of where, if we get rid of Mitchell, can he return to that same guy? And I don't know. It's tough to take a step back as a player and then you get the reins again. Can you return to that state? It might be nice for him to get that kind of reset, but they're in a tough spot right now, and I don't really know which direction they go. But as you mentioned, we'll head over to the Magic right now. You just want to touch on them real quick?
Yeah, I think it's still a very successful season for them, despite losing in 7 in kind of a heart-wrecking way, especially with blowing that lead early on. Again, it is kind of a very loaded question about Franz as a second option because he really struggled today. He was 6 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists.
Well, I will say he had some foul trouble too. That hurt him. Yeah,
1
yeah.
for 15 is kind of
Yeah, foul
Well,
trouble
yeah,
doesn't do
yeah.
it.
Well,
But still,
I
like,
mean,
I
he
love
didn't get a
Bron,
chance to
but
get in a rhythm.
Maybe it
that's
was
for
a good
sure.
thing he was in foul trouble.
I mean, 15 shots is a lot of time to get in rhythm. But he is. I like him as a player. This isn't obvious. Obviously, these things happen with young guys in their first series. Suggs struggled as well today. I think they were 3 of 28 or something at some point. Him
Well,
and
that's been a problem
Suggs
for
and
them
about
all season long.
yeah. But that was just them two together, which is obviously pretty worrying. But they are. I think they're a team on the up. I think you don't want to rush this thing with by bringing in someone like Paul George too early. You don't want to be crippled financially by that. You want to keep the flexibility. I wish we could have seen more Isaac in this series, especially on like a Mitchell, just because he's such a insane. Bill Simmons compares him to modern Bill Russell. Just with this insane defensive guy, just moves around. He's just like on a different level than everybody else physically. Obviously he has injury problems, which is why he's kind of limited in how much he can play. But he's an insane player, and it would have been great to see him on Mitchell. Hopefully, he keeps improving his offensive game so he can be like a legitimate guy for them. I'd love to see him and be the kind of the starting five going forward. Just to see what the hell could happen with him on defense. Just he could be, he's like Wemby but Christian and pro America. You know what I'm saying? Like he got his that he got that going for him. But yeah, yeah. So,
All right, all right. Well, that's good for the Orlando Magic. Let's head down now.
yeah.
Head up.
Shout out
to-
Paulo though. Played
Shout out
amazing
Paulo.
this
Yeah,
series.
should have Paul. He had a great
Yeah, there
series.
was a
He had
lot
like
of
38 points.
there was a lot of TikToks and YouTube videos talking about how Paulo looked like LeBron this series. I mean,
He did look like LeBron, yeah.
there's movements, but he's older LeBron.
La Paulo, yeah, La Paulo.
He looks like the slow, like old, not prime LeBron.
I mean,
La
yeah, he definitely has the
Bankero.
physicality. He has the strength, and he has the
Yeah.
just sheer ability to kind of get to where he wants to. He's also kind of a big boy like LeBron, big and chunky.
Mhm.
LeBron was more of like a built girth, but like, Paulo's a bit. You see him at the end of the game, how tired he looked. That was just funny
Yeah.
to me. He was like about to throw up.
Well, I mean,
This
look at what
motherfucker's
he was
gassed.
dealing with this whole. Look at what he was
Exactly.
dealing. That's
Yeah,
good. He's the only guy out there, basically.
yeah, but I felt him and Mitchell, bro. It's just that I remember checking this how many points people had and stuff like that, like the box score in the middle of the third, and it's like nobody in the Magic had like double figures, and it's like fucking Paulo was like 30, and
Yeah.
it's like get the motherfuckers in hell, bro.
All right. But
Yeah.
speaking of guys doing it themselves, I wouldn't say Jalen Brunson has done it all himself, but it's damn felt like it throughout this playoffs. He knocks off him and the Knicks, take care of business against the 76ers in game 6 of that series. Got a little dicey there. They dropped game 5, close one. Felt like, man, Philly might be able to take this one back, get it to a game 7, but Brunson cuts them short there in game 6. Cheyenne, I want to start with Philly because we'll get to New York, but Philly kind of hampered by the Embiid injury, and a lot of people are saying, maybe they need to go in a different direction, move off Embiid or bring in someone else to help supplement them. I know one thing's for sure: Tobias Harris will not be in Philly next year unless something crazy.
He's being replaced with Humble Cookie.
Tobias Harris is not going to be in Philly next year, but with his contract coming off the books, maybe that frees some stuff up for them. How do you foresee Philly moving forward from this series?
I don't think the Sixers are gonna do something insane with Embiid, just because I feel like they're just gonna fall back on like his knee as the excuse for him like not performing as like the MVP should. But I was really impressed with how Tyrese Maxey played. He's a legitimate star. Like he played amazing, willed them in game 5, got them to a game 6, did what he could. But Tobias Harris, he should not be there. He should not play another minute in Philly. But the Sixers, they just blew some really like tough games in the beginning also. Like game 2, that was really crucial for them. They started off 2-0, and that was like when Jalen Brunson was playing his worst ball of the series. They should have capitalized in that moment, and they didn't, and that's why they lost. But in the offseason, I do think they're going to try to lure someone like Paul George. Don't know how far that's still going to get you because we saw how he played too in this playoff series against the Mavs. And, I feel like the Embiid thing, the injury, he misses time in the playoffs every year. So I don't really think they could do too much with
Well,
that. Like
there was an interesting point being brought up to where Embiid has been so injury hampered throughout his career to the point where you might have to not make him the guy. Like you can have him on your team, but you have to build a team around someone else. Now, whether that can be a Tyrese Maxey, that remains to be seen. But if a guy is constantly not available in the playoffs, can you rely on him to be your
I mean, he
primary?
was there. Like the
Well,
thing
he's
with okay,
there,
so
but
this series,
I mean,
in
it's
this series,
risky,
he
you
was
know.
pretty much 100%. I think like he was
No,
pretty much
no, he was
100%.
not.
No.
He was not
He had 50
100%.
points. Yes, he
No, come
was.
on.
If you
He's
can
not
put
100.
50 points
He was
on an
not
elite
moving this.
defense,
At least
He had
early in
like
the
30
series.
free throws.
you can't expect guys to be 100% all the time. Guys are going to be knocked banged up. But the fact
But
he could still put 50
But that's a
points.
major injury, though. He had
Which
surgery on
one?
his knee, bro.
Yeah, he recovered. He was back. Like at the end of the day, guys are going to get
Like
hurt.
right
it's part of
before the
basketball.
playoffs.
But Alex,
No, that was a while
is it
ago. He
not
had surgery.
is it not concerning that with Embiid it's every
It
year
is. It is
and it's a
concerning,
big
but I think
injury.
this
It's not
year-
like he's just barely tweaking stuff. It's a big injury every year, and especially down the stretch to where it hampers their ability to perform in the playoffs. You know.
I mean, I don't think it really did because he was still himself. Like he was still pretty good. I don't think you can take that away from him. He was still 90% MVP Embiid, and 90% MVP Embiid is a pretty fucking good basketball player. Like I think like the Knicks in terms of pure superstar status, right? I think it's fair to say even Embiid at like 90% is probably a better player than Brunson, or should be a better player in this series
Yeah.
than Brunson. Right. So I think this is more about the players surrounding him and the fact he didn't have any kind of backup or any kind of support in the front court. With Nick Nurse, I think it's more concerned about his stamina rather than injuries. The fact that he just can't physically do it. Like he can't run for that long. He can't offensively be the guy.
Is that not partially because of injuries?
No, I think it's just his stamina. I don't think it's an injury thing because it wasn't his joints or anything. It was his breathing. He couldn't run anymore. That's the thing. I think it's something. It's more about you need backups around him. You need depth around him. That's why I don't think they should get Paul George. I think they need to really get stack up on really good role players. Get a quality backup big behind him. You can take the load off him. Paul Reed's solid. Paul Reed isn't that guy. Paul Reed is someone you can put there for maybe like 5-10 minutes here and there, but you need someone to legitimately give Embiid a rest. Preferably, I think you want to give him like 34 minutes in the playoffs and just run everything through him in those 34 minutes and just use him as much as possible. And then the rest of the time, go through Maxey, go through your role players. Hopefully, we can bring a guy back like Kelly Oubre, who was pretty good in this series, especially on Brunson. I was impressed. He's definitely going to get a better contract than the minimum he signed in the summer. Hopefully, he doesn't get hit by a car again. But he's kind of cursing in Philly with that. But
yeah,
but he's a good player. But the thing is, like, Embiid was getting run ragged. I think he played the whole second half in Game 6. I think it was Game 6, and he was dead by the end. And against his Knicks team, if you're physically not there, you're kind of out of shape or not as athletic or whatever, like you're gonna get found out. Shout out to the Knicks, by the way. I mean, DiVincenzo, I think, played 48 minutes. I think Game 6, and then I think Josh Hart.
DiVincenzo and Hart are putting in minutes, man.
Yeah.
They are getting that cardio, and that's for sure.
The Nova boys.
Fair play. You know what I'm saying? Like that's.
Dude, shout out Josh
move to the
Hart
Knicks
this
then.
series.
Yeah,
though.
let's move to the Knicks.
Played amazing. He
Hart,
led the series in rebounds at least through the first couple of games. He played really well throughout the series, shooting the ball well. DiVincenzo kind of struggled in like the middle games, but in Game 6 he closed it out. He played amazing. And what about the big three, the Nova boys? Jalen Brunson. Yeah, Jalen Brunson. Ever since he left the Mavs, ever since that playoff run with the Mavs, he's just been the superstar that the Knicks have needed. And I think he could do really, really big things with them. I think he could take them to the finals.
Okay, well, a little bit further than I was about to ask. But when you look at their matchup this series against the Indiana Pacers, you mentioned all those minutes those guys are playing. Indiana likes to play a little bit faster, maybe run up and down the court. Alex, do you think Tibbs has to change the rotation a bit to get these guys a little bit more rest against a team that really wants to push it? Or do you think that New York can slow the game down and make sure that they're still playing their game against a team that we've seen has been able to put up points with the best of them?
I think in this series you have to go 8, and I think you can in this series because you have Precious, and I think he's a good matchup in this series. You can put him out there. He won't get killed. He just won't get killed. I think you can put them. The bigs for Indiana aren't necessarily that good, especially inside. Like Miles Turner's more of a finesse perimeter big who's really good on defense. You have like Obi Toppin. Like this isn't Embiid. You know what I mean? That's a different series.
Spicy P.
Yeah, you do Spicy P. That's fair, but I don't think Spicy P is the same. He's in the same just dominant force that Embiid is, right? He's been good this season. I'll be fair. But I mean, you guys like OG you can put on him. You have guys like Josh Hart. I think can do a job on him. Maybe with Josh Hart.
That's a tough matchup for me.
Yeah, that's fair. Actually, yeah, that's fair because Josh Hart's that's a big side.
He plays big.
Josh Hart's
He's
strong.
tough.
He plays big.
He
plays big. I mean, it could
I
be
don't
really.
think he'd
It's one
want
of
to
those.
do it, but he could if he has to
It's
switch
like
on.
the opposite. When he's got a long wing on a small guard, it'd be like the opposite.
Yeah,
I think a little guy on a bigger guy can sometimes just really. As a big guy myself, I can tell you firsthand, it can really throw you off, especially if the little guard's like short and like chunky and.
So you mean if we put Adam on pitch?
No, I'm not that short. No, that's like a foot difference. Okay, guys. So I just turned around and just put it over him. But I think Hart could be a weird wrinkle they put in, especially the other guys like Hart and signed to it. It's a good series, I think, for New York. I think
Miles McBride off the bench.
2 balls guarding Brunson.
So
I think you have Neesmith's going to get foul trouble.
Brunson's going to go for a lot of points.
And especially with Halliburton not being the same guy since his injuries. He's been playing through it pretty evidently, and you can tell he's kind of not 100% there. So I just think he's not the same guy. If it was a healthy Halliburton, then maybe they'd have a chance. But I think in general, it's going to be a good Knicks series. I think Knicks in 5 or 6. I think
Knicks in 5.
Pacers going to get some purely based off of their athleticism.
I don't think
speed,
and the Pacers have much of a chance.
So yeah, I think it's pretty much a collision course for Boston and New York in the conference finals.
I mean, still before we move off the Pacers. Pacers had a good season, man. I mean, they
did. Yeah, they were about 11 seeds last year.
They hosted the All-Star game this year. A lot of buzz around Indiana. I think we should acknowledge they got really lucky in that first round.
To TJ McConnell as well, 21 points. Him and Obi Toppin, 41 points combined off the bench in the game. That's insane. I mean, TJ McConnell, my glorious white scrappy king, my little midget, my little white midget.
I mean, he did.
Sixers wish they had him.
Sixers legend.
So.
Yeah, he is a Sixers legend. But you must acknowledge they got a little bit lucky. They got off the hook. They got to play the Pat Bev led Bucks towards the end there.
The Thanasis led Bucks.
I mean,
AJ Green.
Pat Bev made it sound like the best player on the team. Remember when it was Halliburton had like 10 assists or something. He's like, yeah, you let a guy. If I put you out there for 40 minutes, you get 10 assists. Big talking Pat Bev throwing. Let's just touch on that real quick. Obviously, Pat Bev throws the ball into the. If you didn't see it, Pat Bev.
The woman, yeah. How
dare he? He got chirped by some fans saying Cancun out there. That's not even like attacking him. That's just saying. But he chucks. They throw the ball back. He chucks it again. Hits a woman. Obviously, a horrible look. He should definitely be suspended for part of next season. But the Pat Bev saga has been rather interesting. He made that statement a couple of years ago saying Curry had these 5 years. These next 5 years are mine. And I think he's played for
those 5 years ended today.
Yeah, I mean, he's played for like 5 teams last year.
Yeah, let's go through the thing. How many teams it is?
Well, he played on the Rockets, and they weren't great.
That was 5 years ago, but okay. So yeah, Philly, there's Milwaukee, Philly, Chicago, Lakers, Minnesota, and the Clippers.
Remember when he left? Remember when he left Minnesota? And he's like, "Yep, time to take another team to the playoffs."
Exactly.
Like, what do you mean, Pat? If you're not the one taking to the playoffs, and the farthest they ever went was with the Clippers, and he wasn't even the one on the floor that turned it around. They took him off the floor because he sucked. Yeah. I mean, I think he's
36 now.
I think it's the end.
That
of the
was the Reggie Jackson series.
That was the prime Reggie Jackson. But I think it's the end of the road for Pat Bev. If you look back on it, it's really crazy how much relevance Pat Bev had. Like, credit to Pat Bev actually for somehow putting himself in the spotlight so much. I really don't know what he did throughout those 5 years that granted him much limelight, but. You know what? If that's the end of the Pat Bev saga, I guess it is.
His actions were so crazy that even Draymond's telling him to calm down. That's it's kind of you got off the deep end a little bit.
Well, you got to listen to his podcast, man. He wouldn't let that reporter ask questions because she wasn't subbed to the podcast. So apparently, you got to be subbed up to the podcast. Pat Bev, this point, kind of a joke. It's probably over for him. So, hell of a career, Pat Bev.
Bro, that can't be the first time he's heard Cancun on 3-2. That can't be the first time, bro.
For sure.
PTSD can die.
Bro,
But
like ever
moving
since the
back,
bubble with Dame, bro, there's no way that's the first time he's
nah,
heard.
Pat Bev just been a meme for real. Like with the Lakers, remember the Lakers Celtics game?
Yeah.
You're the fucking camera.
With the
Bro,
kid.
bro has not been serious since the bubble, man. I don't know what happened. But yeah, well, goodbye, Pat Bev. But moving back here, so we're left with this semifinals now, on either side between we mentioned OKC, Dallas, we mentioned Nuggets, Timberwolves. You got Boston versus Cleveland, and then New York versus Indiana. Have your opinions changed on who you think is going to end up in the finals based on the few games throughout the playoffs, or are you still sticking strong to your picks? And if you are changing, let everyone know who you originally picked and who you're now feeling is going to come out in that finals matchup.
I'm
Well-
sticking with. I'll go first. I'm sticking with Nuggets Celtics. I still have Nuggets coming out of the series, despite it being a very, it's gonna be a really good series. I think the winner of that series definitely goes to the finals. I don't think OKC is a champion out of the team. And then on the East, Celtics still the team, but it really depends on Porzingis' health and if they can. There's a chance he could just mentally crumble against the Knicks. You never know with these things. But they're still the two best teams, the two best. I'd say the best player versus the best overall team, the best like 5-man rotation in the league. So I think still Nuggets, Celtics, Nuggets the 6.
Well, I remember originally I had, the Heat with a healthy Jimmy beating the Celtics. Well,
They
that
did the
didn't
Lakers
last
in the
very
finals.
long. Yeah,
Well,
that
well,
that
here's
was like
what
a
he
homer
said.
pick, though.
No.
Yeah,
Remember,
I think every pick you ever made is a homer.
remember, Cheyenne actually did say he had the Mavericks in the finals,
Yeah,
and then he
before
texted
before
me.
I switched
He
up.
texted
I didn't
me
want to
But
be
he
a
did,
to
yeah.
homer,
change it.
but then, my heart lies with LeBron, my only sunshine. But now that my sunshine's in Cancun, I got my next sunshine, Luca, and the Mavs in the finals. I got them, earlier on. I said taking on the. Shut the fuck up, real quick. All right, I got the Mavericks taking on the Knicks in the finals. I think that's pretty cool. Brunson against his former team, Luca against
Do you
them.
actually think this is gonna happen, bro?
Yeah,
You actually
Why
think
couldn't it
Knicks and Mavs in the finals?
you act like the Knicks is a crazy pick, bro.
No, I'm just saying it's a very like it's just like imagine that should happen though. Like I feel like that would be a very funny outcome.
No, that's what I got.
Well, okay.
all right, fair play.
That is the outcome that I'm cheering for. I hope that we don't get Nuggets Celtics.
Why? It's gonna be the best basketball.
Oh my gosh, shut up, kid.
Why? It's gonna be the best basketball series.
Because
It's
it's a way better storyline. It's a more entertaining series. Why would I
no,
want
is
to
it?
Yeah.
Jokic is entertaining. What's entertaining about fucking the Mavs versus the Knicks? I'm sorry, bro.
You got New
Well,
York.
isn't it,
You got New
the
York.
new, bro? The way they
Listen, it's
burnt
gonna
that
be-
versus his
Trae
old
Young,
team.
bro.
You got
Imagine that
Kyrie and Luca in the final. How is that not
I'm
entertaining?
saying from a purely basketball perspective, ignore the narratives. But if you think New York is a very
damn,
great
okay,
defensive
if you
team,
take off. If you
You're
can't
gonna
take
have-
off the
it's gonna be
jerseys
very
and you put on
close
black and
games.
white jerseys, I mean, okay, fine. If you
no,
want,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying, like purely from a basketball standpoint, watching the games, Jokic is the most fun player to watch in the league because of how of the playmaking.
I mean, you
I
could
disagree.
argue Luca's
I
just
disagree.
as fun. You could argue
No,
Luca and
I was-
Kyrie Irving.
I mean,
just
I mean,
as
Okay,
fun.
Kyrie, yes.
That's
Luka,
preference.
no.
Kyrie's the most
No,
fun
that's
player in the
Luka
league.
is an
you
argument.
can't say
Luca's
that.
fun.
That's
You don't think Luka's as
100%
fun
true.
as Jokic?
That's
Jokic
your
is more fun to watch than
preference.
Luka.
That's
No,
your
no,
preference.
Luka
That's your
is very.
preference.
Okay, listen. Luka has great highlights, but in terms of a whole game viewership and actually watching the basketball and watching every play develop, watching offensively and defensively, Jokic is a way better player to watch than Luka. But Luka does have some great
All
highlights.
right, it could
Kyrie's an
be
exception.
better, but
Kyrie's
not more
fair. I'll give you that.
fun.
Kyrie's more better to watch. I'm saying Kyrie's more fun. I'd say that. That's
All
fair.
right.
In terms of like a pure like street ball standpoint, just seeing he could do anything at any given time. Kyrie's more fun. I'll give you that. But Luka,
Right.
but Jokic is one of the best players to watch in the league.
All right, back
That's
to
just your anti-white bias, racist.
Why?
Wait, what?
Hate Europeans,
Wait,
bro.
we said we like Luke. We said we like.
I said Luca.
No,
What?
no,
What?
Luka's black though. Luka
Nah,
counts
you're
as
just
black.
lying
He's,
now.
he's
All right.
honorary. But-
You got
Back
that
to
dog
the
in
picks
it.
here. I said I want the Knicks and Mavericks to win because I'm gonna stick with my original picks. I said whoever wins the first round series between the Lakers and
You're an
Nuggets will
idiot.
make finals. And
Shut the fuck up.
then whoever wins that series will make the
Just
finals.
say Denver. You could just say Denver,
And
bro.
so
That is
Denver-
not your prediction.
I'm sticking with my pick. I will
You
say,
actually have Lakers.
am I concerned with Denver? Yes. I mean, how could you not watch that first game and be slightly concerned with Denver? You have to be. But would I be shocked if, the Nuggets came out and won the next 4 games? No. I think it
Okay,
easily.
let's just go back to the fact that do you think this Minnesota team is losing to the fucking Lakers? Like, do you legitimately think that?
I mean,
that's like saying
have
that
they-
the
have they
winner
won
of the
2 games
Celtics
against
Heat
the
series
Nuggets
is going
yet?
to the Eastern Finals.
Have they
Like, yeah,
have they
no
won
shit.
have they
It is
won
the
2 games
Celtics.
in the series yet?
What?
Have they won 2 games in the series yet?
What the fuck up?
What do you mean? If the Nuggets come out and win the next 4
What?
games, then it's a very valid
Are
statement.
you fucking serious? Just aesthetically watch the games. Just watch and like think of the matchup too. You telling me that who in the Lakers is going to guard fucking Ad, bro? I've been saying this the whole time. Who's guarding him? Who's stopping him? Oh, didn't you
Jared
fucking Suns
Vanderbilt.
beat the
If Jared
Timberwolves?
Vanderbilt wants to,
What the fuck?
short one time, he wants to.
What the fuck are you talking
If they
about,
got
bro?
to the next round, you don't know. Vanderbilt
Didn't you
could have
fucking
It
Phoenix
would be a
beating the
team
Timberwolves as well?
effort.
Bro, I was the only one who had fucking the Timberwolves winning, bro. You
All
guys
right, well,
suck.
hold
You guys
on. Let me
all
get back.
suck,
Let me
bro.
make my pick. Let me make my pick. Damn.
Tier list ass fucking. You suck.
Well, my tier list has been great. The only thing I messed up is the
Phoenix,
Lakers.
Minnesota, and OKC. That's like a quarter of the
I
fucking
literally
bracket.
only missed Minnesota. That's my only miss.
OKC. You tell me, okay. You're wrong,
I think the
bro. You
Lakers
just,
would beat OKC in a series. I mean, that's my thing. I don't know what to tell you.
you're dumb as hell, bro.
No, bro. The
I think
Lakers,
silly
bro.
ass.
OKC.
Lakers are beating OKC in a series. All right,
Phoenix is
move
a
up
contender,
the
bro.
Lakers, dude. Move up the Lakers, dude. My tier list has been great besides
The
the
Lakers are
Timberwolves,
wrong.
all right,
No, it was wrong.
and
bro.
the Suns, all right. But anyways, all
And
right.
Lakers, yeah. But
I think that Denver, as much as I want to, see the Mavericks move on, I think that they would pose too much of a problem for the Mavericks offensively just because of what they have with the size of Jokic. I know they picked up some bigs, but I don't think there's anyone on that team that could stop Jokic. And to be honest, I don't foresee Luka or Kyrie stopping Jamal Murray. So I think that if they can get past Minnesota, then they're probably, going to be slated into that finals against Boston because let's be honest, no one's beating Boston. I hope.
The Knicks.
Please,
I'm
Boston
telling you,
lose.
the Knicks.
I don't want to see Boston get another one,
Bro,
but
Boston,
Tom
there's a
Thibodeau.
reason
If you could
everyone
hear us,
hasn't
Tom
been saying,
Thibodeau.
oh, like convincingly Boston won the championship. They always feel a bit fraudulent this time of year. And that's why I think the Knicks are going to win.
Hey, throw OG Anunoby on Jason Tatum. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see what Tatum.
Exactly.
We're going to see
Bro,
what
throw OG at him, Josh Hart at him.
This is a great playoffs to see kind of the future of the league. And I'm not saying who will determine, who's going to be the face of the league, but you're getting a chance to see, okay, let's test Apollo Banchero here. And he's going to have to carry a team. And he's able to get a team to 7 games. And all right, Tatum, you're going to get a cakewalk to the finals, but you're going to be tested offensively against probably, the Knicks, who I assume are going to come out of the series of. They have a lot of guys that they can throw at Tatum, and he's got to battle through it, and he's got to prove that he can be the guy to take his team down the stretch to the finals. And then, obviously, we've seen what, Luka has, and OKC is plenty of young talent, and then you have veteran teams like the Nuggets who are still around, and the biggest, star so far throughout this playoffs, Anthony Edwards. Can he do it? Can he can he do it himself and LeBron the Nuggets away? Just by himself like LeBron did the Warriors. But I don't know. It's a great playoffs to showcase this young talent, and I think it's been pretty fun so far. If you were to give this playoffs a rating on a scale of 1 to 10, obviously I would feel a lot, more invested in it if the Lakers were still in it because they're my team. But I think this playoffs has gotten a little bit of a bad rap, going through Twitter. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is a mid playoffs." There's not a lot of.
I put an 8.
I think
solid 8.
I think A is a little bit high. I'd give it like a B plus. I think.
Okay, 8. 8. I said.
Oh, 8.
Like out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a B plus.
Yeah, I asked that a 10. My bad. Yeah, I'd say it's a fair score. I'd say it's a very fair score. Cheyenne, what about you?
I would just say 7 just because of the injuries. Like, I was
That's
really
true.
hyped.
That is true.
I thought we'd be seeing Kawhi. I
Good
thought we'd be
take, Cheyenne.
seeing Giannis and Dame. Oh, yeah. I just thought this would be the year where like every team would be at like their full strength and just see like a battle, like just really competitive. And like some of these series, they've been kind of short. So
I will say they're
wish would have been some of
upset
them.
series, but I mean, some of the series have been unbelievable. I mean, obviously,
Yeah, the Knicks
Cavs
Philly was a good one.
well, that was the best one so far. But
Yeah.
Cavs Orlando goes to 7. I mean, no one really cares as much about that.
Yeah.
I guess it's fun, but whatever. But I
Yeah,
mean,
and even when you're missing like two-way superstars like Jimmy, Giannis,
Yeah.
Chad Vanderbilt, like
Yeah.
you're still able to have a good series. You're still able to have a good series, and
Really are.
it's
Like,
still, those
I
teams
mean,
weren't
Zion,
really
no
changing anything.
Zion, bro. We would
I
have
think
seen his
Zion as
playoff
well, yeah.
debut.
well, despite
You
some
gotta
of
argue
these,
the fucking Vanderbilt point, bro.
despite some of these series not being close, I mean, the least you could say is the Lakers Nuggets was an entertaining series. I mean,
It was.
It was, yeah, because
I mean,
Denver was
the
gonna win
Knicks-
every time, and I was
the
like,
Every
Knicks-
game
the
was
Knicks-
close. So
the
that
Knicks
was-
and
yeah, because
Sixers.
it was a very enjoyable Lakers choke.
Well, I
That's what
mean,
it was, every game.
the Knicks and Sixers was a very enjoyable series.
Yeah,
Lakers
for
Nuggets,
sure. Yeah.
even though the Lakers lost, still an enjoyable series.
Clippers Mavericks, very good
Clippers,
series.
that
That
was
was
what
it.
I was gonna say next. That was a
Even
great
Minnesota Phoenix was like an enjoyable series where it's like
series.
it's changing of
I
the
feel like they
guard.
low key
No,
walk
Phoenix-
like
Phoenix
got
whooped
blown
them,
out.
bro.
Phoenix was
But
like,
still, the actual games, I think from a narrative perspective, just seeing Phoenix just like crumble like that, and then see the changing of the guard from KD to Ant's hero. He's gone from the hero and Ant's hero to Ant's son, and then Devin Booker, of course,
Yeah.
being everybody's son now. It's
I will say,
I found it
even,
interesting narrative perspective.
even the
Indiana.
other. Even the other 3-6 matchup, even though it was kind of a stinker that both Dame and Giannis
Yeah,
get
the
it,
game winner.
Dame's first
you had the
couple
game winner
games,
from
too.
Halliburton. That was a great game. So I
Chris
mean,
Middleton himself. Huh?
has had its moments. The resurgence of Chris Middleton.
Chris Middleton
Dame
plays
had
good
35
3 times
in
a
the
year.
first half and
And,
ended the
I
game
mean,
with like 37.
Is this fair to say that this playoffs has seen some of the best crowd environments I've seen in quite a while since probably before the bubble? I mean, we mentioned OKC, but how about like New York? I mean that's honestly been the most fun I've had watching a team other than my team and quite a while.
The Sixers getting the fucking Knicks fans in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But yeah, Indiana, like a lot of these really strong, like smaller franchises that love their teams are really showing out. And I think that's really good for that. Minnesota, Denver, right? These teams aren't necessarily thought of as
The
big
Denver crowd
marquee
is
cities.
crazy.
But yeah, it really is an amazing crowd because what the fuck else can I do in Minnesota? Like, everybody's gonna get all in on these teams. And same with Indiana too. Like, what are you doing in Indiana? You're gonna watch the Pacers. You're gonna watch basketball. It's home of basketball. And you really need that for the league, I think, because as great as teams like LA are, right? Clippers games, Lakers games, like there's a big kind of a casual.
There's a lot to
environment
do. There's a lot to do.
Yeah, and also like with the fans, because they're so expensive. A lot of times, like even though Cheyenne is hella expensive, like it's gonna be the upper class, not really the tradition. Like they don't care as much about the game.
Hey, you're calling me the
upper
upper class, huh?
No,
Pritchard.
you are.
They're the fans that don't wear jerseys to the games. They wear like the jackets to the
They
games.
don't wear their Lonzo Ball 2017 jerseys.
Yeah, the fake
those are the fans you don't
Ball
need.
jerseys.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like you need the homegrown fans. That's why
all right,
in a place like Memphis, Sacramento, you need those teams in the playoffs.
Well, one last thing before we go. Then it was mentioned, on a radio show earlier, yesterday I was listening to that the NBA does a really bad job of marketing small market teams. I mean, I know it's hard, but you look at other leagues like the NFL and their best player and their most marketed player is in the middle of the country. I mean, Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes plays in the middle of nowhere.
That's a historic franchise, to be fair. And also the best player in the NBA
not really.
the Nuggets.
Kansas City
but like Mahomes is like an all-time like
but
top like 3 talent ever.
But Victor Wembanyama, arguably the biggest, up and coming star in the NBA, plays in San Antonio. How do you
can market it like crazy though? You see the alien thing on top there?
He has been.
I feel like other things are marketing Vic more than like the Spurs are though. I feel like Nike has to have, like they're more like marketing.
But
San Antonio really.
Now we move off of Victor Wembanyama, who had this year of all the focus being on him. How about a guy like Anthony Edwards? I mean, Minnesota's not a big market there. How do they get a guy like Anthony Edwards to be
Justin
I'm not going to say
Jefferson.
the
His
face of the
personality.
league,
His personality.
but
It's just who he
I
is.
mean, you see the way
That's-
that they're able to market a guy like you mentioned, Justin Jefferson, who, I mean, he's the best wide receiver in the league, but he plays in Minnesota. You know, it's not like Minnesota's like a crazy good team. They're maybe a playoff team, but they're able to market him to where kids want to do the gritty and be like Justin Jefferson. You know, how does
Witty.
how does the NBA get to a point where they're able to market guys like Anthony
I
Edwards?
think guys want to be like Anthony Edwards. I don't see where this is coming from because I feel like the guys do want to be like he's a bad
I think it's just that
Everyone loves him.
football's a way bigger sport than basketball.
I'd say in terms of yes and no. I think obviously basketball is more international, so I think international. Like if you look at guys like Schengen in Turkey, you know, you look at in Eastern Europe how big a thing it is, or even Western Europe is really growing. In the UK, where I'm from, it's really growing. You can tell.
Oh well, I actually have a theory. I think the NBA is actually rigging games to make the European players win.
Okay, fucking Lakers fan, sure. Yeah, whatever you say, bro.
Real? What
Bro,
about the
bro,
Akron,
yeah,
Ohio fans?
You laugh now.
12
but
straight
we're gonna
games to
get
the fucking
we're gonna
Nuggets.
get a Nuggets Mavericks conference finals, and you're laughing, but we're gonna get the two
Yeah,
biggest
the two
international
best players in the
superstars.
league. I don't know what your point is.
I'm just
Bro,
saying.
shut
I'm
up.
just saying.
Was this like some white privilege thing where it's like
No, I
all
never
the,
said
the
that.
whites
I
to
just
get their way?
voted the game overseas.
But
But,
Empire
bro, shut
Strikes
up.
Back.
I think LeBron's a bigger name than Jokic to the foreign audience, like the casuals. Like if they wanted LeBron to win, LeBron would win.
But it feels like it feels like a lot of the superstars feel like they have to go to a big market to kind of get that exposure. I know
no, they want
LeBron.
to because they want the
LeBron
money.
is the
That's why.
LeBron is kind of the exception there, to where LeBron played in
That's 'cause his
Cleveland
brand
and
was
he's
Cleveland.
still.
His brand was Cleveland. That's the whole thing. He's a homegrown
Yeah.
kid. That's bigger. That's
Yeah.
bigger than. I mean,
Chosen
he went to
one.
Miami, bro.
Well,
Like,
but even him went to Miami. So I
yeah,
mean,
big market. Yeah.
and he went to LA. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of
Well, it's
pressure.
I think it's because of
Hey,
people
in a
don't
big
want to live in fucking Minnesota. I think we have to really think like. Of course, he's like what? He was in his mid-20s. He's 27. Of course, you want to go fucking live in Miami.
Well, but
You
I
know
mean,
what I mean?
other people don't have other athletes don't have a problem with it.
Like who? Like who in free agency? Like
They don't really have options, bro.
Yeah,
They don't
like,
have options.
the
like
NFL
that.
doesn't really have like a free agency, and same with the NBA does.
What do you
right?
mean? They have a free agency.
No, not the same
They
way.
do
You don't see
anyway.
guys like you don't see Patrick Mahomes in free agency choosing a new team, right? It's just a structure of the
I
league. The
see.
And
superstars
also
don't
with
change teams like that.
football, one guy could make basketball. One guy makes more of a difference than one guy.
Exactly,
moving
yeah.
Football.
Again, Justin Jefferson, the team's mid around him. Kirk Cousins obviously got traded. He's not that
But
good either anyway.
when a team, you know, when
Michael
guys say,
Penis,
when guys want to team up, they never say, "All right, guys, let's team up in Orlando." Or
because one guy's already there. Because like Wade was already in Miami.
well, no one was in New
Wait,
York.
wait.
No one was in Brooklyn. No one was in Brooklyn. They decided
That's New York. That's what they want to go to New York. The city of
But
New
I'm
York is a
saying
massive
that's-
city that people want to live in. People want to live in New York.
But
Yeah.
it seems like there's a problem to where don't
Who
you see?
wants to live in Indiana? Okay, have we really thought about this like in depth?
But
Like
no, but I'm saying,
Adam, this is
I'm
just
saying-
human nature. People don't want to live in cold
A lot
fucking
of-
Minnesota
but I'm
or
saying
like Portland.
the point I'm making is Denver. If Denver makes the finals again this year, right? Denver will have a chance of doing something historic, going back to back and winning 2 straight NBA finals. At the end of the day, people would rather see a Knicks Lakers finals than see Denver go back.
What are you talking about? What? You telling me people were ever seeing
But
fucking
I'm
Lakers
saying
Knicks
the
finals this season than Jokic?
the viewership would be way
No,
higher.
no, bro. Yeah, maybe okay, maybe the numbers are higher. That's because it's 2 recognizable brands. It's a brand thing.
But
In terms
how
of
does
actual
the
basketball product,
NBA how does the NBA get to the point where
you
they're able to get a
you
guy?
can't do that. You can't. There's no way. It's just the branding of the
I
Lakers,
mean,
like Lakers Celtics final.
Okay,
would be the
Nicole.
most-
No, that's different. Lakers Celtics is different.
Yeah,
That's
but it's the branding. The Lakers and Knicks, 2 of the most iconic brands in sports in American sports, right? Of course, they're going to get tons of viewers.
but
Okay,
I
this is
mean,
something that
okay, Kansas
What's your
City. The Kansas City
suggestion?
go back to back this year. They're the most recognizable brand in
Taylor
football
Swift.
right now.
Yeah, but that's because
That's not
they're the
the
best player and they win.
No,
All right,
That's because
Ricky.
they're the
Patrick
best player and they
Mahomes.
win. Okay, like let's be real about this. They have the best player in the league and they win every year. It's like the Patriots with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
They were the
But
most recognizable
don't
to
the
me
Nuggets-
as British
if the
kids
Nuggets go
growing
back
up
to
in the
back-
UK because they won.
If
Yeah,
the Nuggets
people
go
want
back to
Nuggets.
back, then they have the best player in the league, and they
Everyone
do
knows
something
Jokic.
historic. But that doesn't
Yeah,
mean
and everyone
people
knows
want to
Jokic.
see
Everyone
you.
knows Denver. Yes, they
How
do
do
want
they-
to see what? Everyone wants to see Jokic.
Cheyenne, did you want to see Jokic in the finals this year? You just said you didn't want to see. I don't
He
want
wants
to
the
see it.
Lakers in the finals. He's biased. That's bullshit. He wants to see LeBron in the finals. But if LeBron is
I'd
not
rather
there,
see the
Jokic is a
Mavs in
very
the finals.
I'd rather see the
Why?
Mavericks.
But why? Why? Though? Think about the reasoning. Think about
Because
something different.
because they
It's
have
'cause of-
more star power.
No, they don't. No, they don't. What are you talking about?
The Mavs and the Nuggets.
They have
Star
ISO
power?
ball. How much more star power? Jamal Murray is a fucking superstar.
No, but
Yeah,
he's
Jokic is
not
a
Kyrie
marketed
fucking
like a
superstar.
superstar.
Michael
He's
Porter
not.
Jr. plays like a superstar
Is
sometimes.
is
He has
is Jamal
offensive
Murray?
Alright.
Am I crazy? Am I crazy for saying Jamal Murray is not marketed like a superstar?
He's not marketed, but he is one, and it's very good. Anybody
But
watching
that's
the
the
game.
problem.
He just had two
That's the
buzzer beaters to win the
problem.
series.
Is that
Like,
not the
everyone
problem?
knows this. No,
Alex, it's
watching
not a player
basketball saw that
problem.
clip.
But
Anyone
it's
who watches
not a
basketball saw that clip.
but it's not a player problem. It's a league
Yeah, but
problem, is it not?
what's the league to do about fucking? Yeah, he's never been an all-star because he gets injured during the season, or he doesn't try as hard during the season, or he rests his body during the season. He's not an all-star. You can't market him like an all, like a superstar. He's never been an all-star. You also can't say, but he is a superstar when you actually watch the games in the postseason. He plays like one. He's just weird, like like weird ass bit, like fucking what's it called in stats? Outlier. He's an outlier. He's like,
It took a while.
everybody else. Yeah, he did. He's an outlier. He's an outlier. You don't see guys who don't get an all-star clearance play at this level. You
Really
know?
skewing
And
the
it's
graph
like
right.
you can't blame the NBA. And also he's Canadian. Like, and he got leaked and stuff like that too. Like, I don't blame the NBA for not
Okay,
starting.
whoa. Why did that happen?
Not wanting to market it like that much. But he does get marketed, and I think he does get marketed. He does get marketed. And also, he's playing against the best player in the league. Of course, not
But I don't feel like the Nuggets' dominance has been marketed enough to like where the point where it's like
You heard on it. You were like, "Oh, Lakers going to win this series." People don't believe in it yet because they're idiots and they're biased.
what?
You said
I'm
the
just
Lakers
saying,
going to win this series.
what does that have to do
You
with
still
my
you don't
opinion?
believe either. You say that why don't
What
people
does that have to
why
do with
don't
my
people
opinion?
appreciate- You're an example of a fan who legitimately thinks that. He still doesn't believe in them despite all of this. You're the audience.
So because I picked Denver because
you're an example. You're an
First
example.
of all, I said Denver would lose in 7. Is that like a crazy thing to say? Like, oh my
Yes,
gosh!
it was crazy. It was insane. And you just
As a
said
fan of the team,
unparalleled. You
As a
said it
fan of the
yourself,
team, I can't even
unparalleled.
say I picked my team to win in 7. I
You
mean,
said unparalleled dominance. Okay, you said what, like unparalleled dominance?
I did not say
And you
that.
still had a team.
No,
Yes,
I did
no.
not say
that.
Okay, fine. You said
Not
something
that
along
the
those
team- I did not
lines.
say unparalleled
They
dominance.
were the
I
best
said
team in
their
the league.
dominance hasn't been. Their dominance hasn't
Yeah,
been.
dominance. Yes, you don't even believe in the dominance, and you're a fan. You're a good fan.
What?
You're good.
As in, if
They won a championship
a
last year.
strong
They
fan
went
doesn't
back to
believe in the
back.
Nuggets dominance, then what does the average fan have?
What?
What chance does the average fan have of believing in the Nuggets dominance if you don't? If you watch the game and shit like that? Like
Well,
you're
I
asking,
mean,
you're saying it's
I'm
NBA's
just saying-
fault. How's it the NBA's fault when the viewers like you don't acknowledge it or just find ways to
Okay,
around
this
it?
is a really bad person to single hire. A fan of the opposite team. Like, what do you
No, but
want?
it's
me
an
to
example
do?
of
That's
but-
an example.
yeah, the team that was going to get destroyed in the series. I mean, yeah, okay. There's fans of 29 other teams. Why do you think they
Bro's
should
trying to
get
grill the
that?
outlier.
Yeah, like you talking
Yeah.
about outlier. I'm the outlier. What are you talking about?
No, okay, I'm saying like there's 29 other franchises. Many of the fans of the NBA like one of those teams. How can you expect them if you yourself can't be objective when you look at the Nuggets? Why do you expect other teams to?
First of all, you act like I said the Nuggets would go to the finals if they got past the first round. What?
yeah, they got past the first round, as in you did not believe in them to get past.
No,
the
he
first
meant
round.
past
I don't know.
LeBron.
50-50.
I still have them going to
You
the
said
finals.
50-50.
I mean,
Yeah,
damn, I expect them to go to the finals from this point on. I mean, come on.
You said what was it like?
All right. Point is, the Nuggets are really good.
Yes,
And,
we know.
you know,
I've
they
been
are.
saying this the whole
And they-
year. Nobody listened.
Obviously, they were top 3 team the whole year in terms of seeding.
I've been saying this the whole year. I've been saying those exact words.
You act
the whole
like
year.
you
Everyone
act,
just
you act like
hates
you're
me.
like the only one
Bro,
who hated on
I'm
it.
not.
No one said the Nuggets.
You're finally
Wait,
acknowledging this.
everyone says the
Yes.
Nuggets are good.
No one said
No,
the
no,
Nuggets
you
were-
guys are like, oh, I'm
No,
no,
we didn't. We
it's a
did not
50-50
say
series.
that. I was not. I was the
No,
only.
but
It's
you're
not
just
like I was the
asking
only one.
Lakers fans. That
Yeah,
even if
I-
it's a 50-50 series, they could still be a great team that can go to the finals.
It
Like,
felt like.
What? A 50 series in the first round against a fucking super
All
flawed
right,
Lakers
move
team.
off.
all right,
off the
but it's
Lakers thing.
only
Move off the
50-50
Lakers thing.
because we're Lakers fans.
Move off the
No,
Lakers.
because
thing.
you're idiots.
Is it
We're
is it
Lakers
fair to
fans.
say? Is it fair to say that compared to at least the NFL, the NBA still has a ways to go in marketing their guys
What
from
can they
smaller
do, though?
markets?
What can they do? I mean, what do you want out of it? It's more the personalities of the thing with the NFL is that it's very team driven. Where people are fans of teams, not fans of players. The NBA is
Yeah.
people are fans of players, so you can't
There's
necessarily
too much
market
player
to-
movement too.
No, but I mean, there
Yeah,
are
that's
fans
true
of
as well.
certain players. There are fans of certain players. Some guys are
Exactly,
big
yeah.
fans of Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase.
But not the same way the NBA though.
But, like,
remember, I'm not a
A
Heat fan. I'm
diehard
not whatever
Viking
Heat
fan,
fan.
if
Remember
Justin
that?
Jefferson moved to, like, let's
But
say he
the
went to the
problem is-
Bengals, they wouldn't stop being a Vikings fan. NBA
You can't be
fans, like,
fucking Justin
if,
Jefferson
like,
on the same level as LeBron. Like, are we
Yeah.
having this fucking discussion?
No, but
Like, I'm saying, remember-
all the super big guys though play in big markets. It feels like you look at
In the
you look
NBA,
at
Giannis,
that
definitely
really big-
Jokic.
but Giannis feels undermarketed. Does he not?
No, he just wanted to win. That's why he doesn't care
No.
about that. It's been very clear. He only cared about winning, and it was about can they
But
put a winning organization around.
Is that something the NBA can fix, or is that something Giannis has to take into his own hands to market himself more?
He already is marketed pretty well. And he doesn't care about marketing.
Yeah.
He's just been very. He rejects a big
But-
deal with what was it Adidas, so his fucking brother could get signed.
Oh,
Like
well,
he does not care about
look,
marketing. Okay, He
Thanasis
cares
had to
about-
get signed. Don't
Hey,
worry, he's
exactly.
taken care of.
he
Like,
saw
I
what
mean,
they
I
did
think
for
at the end of the
D-Rose,
day-
and he was trying to do the same thing.
I mean, OKC with Shea, he's one of the biggest. Like the majority of the league right now, it's very different to what it was a few years ago. Where the biggest
But
players are in
this is a
smaller
chance
markets.
though, because now
That's
the
what they
bigger
marketed
players
very well,
are in
yeah.
this. No, but now it's a chance because you're seeing these guys because the smaller market teams. Let's be honest, they're not doing much in free agency. They have to build through the draft. They have to make smart trades and acquire young talent, like the Thunder did in acquiring SGA in a trade for Paul George. You know, they were able to reel in Paul George in free agency, but they realized they had to move off him and they get a young talent in to lead this new regime. Now, in terms of the league's, point of view, you have to market a team like the Oklahoma
But
City.
they are, they not?
Yeah.
No,
I think
are.
you're acting like this is
They
like,
are, but coming
haven't
into
marketed
next year, they got to be a team that everyone looks at and is excited to watch.
You said
From
they're going
a
to lose in the second round.
casual fan, what?
You said they're going to lose in the second round. How can you market a team that's going to get lose in the second round?
Because
You're saying
I
they're
feel
gonna
like
get
next year
marketed
they'll
for
come in.
They're a really young
Well,
team.
no,
You
they're
know, they
really
could have
young
everyone
They're
gets
marketable
better.
this year too.
It's
Yeah,
like
they're
it's like the
marketable this year.
2012 Thunder,
But
from the
or like
NBA perspective,
the
Why
Coming
would
in
they
next
focus on
Durant,
marketing?
Westbrook, Harden Thunder. Like they lost
Because-
in the first
because-
round to like the Lakers,
yeah.
but like ever since then, like they've made a couple conference finals and NBA finals.
Yeah, but to be fair, that was in like 2010. That was
Yeah.
or 2011. Sorry, it was like that was. I mean, that's not really a fair comparison, and also because I think they do market small teams pretty well because players are more. They're not marketing teams; it's players they're marketing. I think they made us a really good job of that, of really giving
Yeah.
their players a personality and showing.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like they
Yeah.
do a lot with the international game. They've made great strides in that area, but I feel like compared to the NFL, they still have a ways to go.
You
I
want
just
more
don't
to
think.
be
I
done.
just don't think it's easy to
entire-
market the teams. I
The thing
agree
is,
with
the
Chris.
NFL, like, I'm a
Players is
casual
easier.
fan of that shit. Like, the NFL isn't really like a very well marketed league, in my opinion, because like the quarterback.
I think that's a
and
horrible.
like
I think that's a horrible.
no, I think in terms of star power, and I
Because-
think of actually knowing the players. The quarterbacks. A few stars at each position. Maybe a few tight ends, a few cornerbacks.
Receivers.
Oh well,
fucking
you don't know
receive-
the
yeah,
whole
few
roster.
receivers,
You don't
yeah.
know the whole roster in the
You know a
NBA.
lot of the
Yes.
receivers.
No, but like you don't know like the stars, like the stars in each position, and all the quarterbacks, and after that, it's pretty much hit or miss. Like as a casual fan, right? I'm saying this is a purely casual fan. Like, I don't know shit about the NFL, but like that's the thing with the NBA. Like the NBA, people know, like they know the top 5 guys, and they know the bench. That's the thing where they do a really good job of marketing the players.
No,
Nas
I
Reed,
don't feel like they do.
Nas Reed.
And, okay, the NBA didn't do that. That was not
No,
the
but like,
NBA.
but see, they
Come
give
on.
there's enough autonomy with the fans. The fan base is so strong where they give these niche players a real meaning, but the NFL doesn't. Like I don't know any NFL like bums in the same way that I know like my NBA bums.
I mean,
know?
that's different. You watch the NBA, like
Yeah, but they're not the same names online. Like you know what I mean? Like you give guys like Matthew Dellavedova.
I will say,
guys,
NBA Twitter is
Bev,
probably the greatest.
Pat
NBA
Bev,
Twitter,
exactly. There's no fucking
NBA
NFL Pat Bev. I mean,
NBA Twitter
is-
might. Well,
is that
no, there
Eli
was.
Apple or something.
Oh, Josh Norman. Search him up.
Yeah.
I don't know who that
Michael
is.
Krause.
But at least Josh
And
Norman was
Akeem
good for
Talib.
like a year.
Josh Norman.
At least
Okay.
they were actually like good players. Like they were like Pro Bowl caliber players at some point in their
But here,
career.
He was first team All Pro, and Pro Bowl.
here's my grand point to where I think the NBA has a real shot here in this window before these guys maybe leave to go to bigger market teams. Maybe an Anthony Edwards says, you know what, maybe I can't win.
Does.
Maybe I can't win in Minnesota.
They can win this year.
They have it.
I mean-
Well, no, I'm just saying 3-4 years down the line, you say this guy's has a chance to be the next Kobe. Maybe he doesn't think he could be the next Kobe in Minnesota. But anyways,
I mean, Kobe
they
left
have
as well.
they have
Yeah,
this
they did
slot
leave.
where you're gonna have the Thunder be a good team, a great team coming up next year, especially with a year of playoff experience under their belt. You're gonna have the San Antonio Spurs with Victor Wembanyama, and you're gonna have Luka Doncic with the Mavericks. All these teams are not playing super big markets. I guess Dallas is a big market.
No.
Anthony Edwards in Minnesota. That's all in the Western Conference alone. I mean, I haven't even got to the East, where Indiana's a team with a bright young future with Tyrese Halliburton. All these small market teams have caught up now to where, okay, this is your chance to really grow the game in the middle of the country and across the country, to where these brands are now recognizable, to where people are interested in watching a Pacers game, or people are interested in watching an OKC game, to where you don't turn on the TV and turn on ESPN and every single game is the Lakers, Knicks. You know when you watch NBA primetime, it's just Lakers, Knicks.
That's what LeBron. I mean, yeah. To be fair, that's that's never gonna change. That's just big brands.
Well,
big
I mean,
cities.
OKC
That's
is
never
a
gonna
great-
change.
If OKC
Like,
is a
there's
great
no
team
choice.
next year, would that not change?
Yeah, it will. But the Knicks and Lakers are always gonna get TV. The
Yeah.
Celtics.
I mean,
not TV.
not
Like,
if
that's not
OKC
changing.
is the best team in the league.
Yeah, they
by
will
far.
get TV. They're gonna get TV.
They will. They
But
will.
everyone's gonna
Okay.
get TV. It's just Lakers are always gonna have TV.
And
It's the Lakers.
Minnesota. You know how many games did Orlando have on TV last
Not
year?
many,
Like,
but that's not fair. Orlando sucked the year before. Like,
What?
that's not fair to
Yeah.
count about the teams that struggle.
no,
the year
okay,
before.
but I'm saying now this is a year. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens if the NBA.
Yeah, and then we'll get more. That's how the NBA works. I mean, look at San Antonio. They have like what, 20 something?
Okay,
like-
that's
Yeah,
them showing.
again, but
That's
they
them
still do
showing
market
that they're
smaller
growing, right?
guys. Yeah, motherfucker.
Because of
okay,
Victor.
What's the argument here? I feel like you're making an argument, but like there's no like actual basis for this. Like if you,
I'm saying this is going
It's
to be a very interesting year coming up for the NBA, to where you have this. You're going to see this playoffs with all these young players playing in smaller markets, to where, all right, now we can kind of build it up for next season of, let's establish a brand in Minnesota with a guy like Anthony Edwards, or maybe let's put Indiana on TV a little bit more and showcase the young talent we have here. I mean, I think it'll be interesting to
up
see.
next, Indiana versus Minnesota.
I mean,
That's not gonna fucking. That's not
right
gonna
now,
sell,
no one
but
wants to see it. Right now, no
ratings,
one wants
no.
to see it. But I mean, but the NFL is
Charlotte versus the Trailblazers. Up next on ESPN.
But I mean, a game like
LaMelo
Denver,
versus Scoot.
a game like Denver.
Miles Bridges versus fucking Jeremy Grant, who beats their wife.
all right. No, but I'm saying like a
Brandon
game.
Miller versus Delano Blanton.
Yeah, he can shoot worse.
I'm saying a game between two smaller market teams in the NFL generally does a lot better than a game between two.
Okay,
And there's
NFL
only
games are once a
16
week.
games in the NFL.
Yeah,
No,
it's
but I'm
once a
saying-
week.
Or 17.
No,
my bad.
People
but-
just binge watch the games at once. The NBA games get boring with the regular season because there's so many games every day.
Yeah.
So you just don't keep up.
But
You only
can
watch like one or two a game max.
But I'm saying there are good enough teams in the NFL where it could be a Sunday where there's 7-8 games on, and maybe the game you choose to watch is the 105 slot between the Kansas City Chiefs and
Yeah,
I don't know.
players.
They're the best team in
fucking
the-
Mahomes.
And
But I mean,
Just
if
like
you
would watch
if you,
Jokic at a
if you
105
saw a
slot.
game between Denver and like Orlando, would you turn that on and watch
Yeah, it's
it?
because it's
I wouldn't.
Jokic.
Would you
Yeah,
watch
dude,
it?
you're an idiot. You're an idiot.
Diane, would you turn on a game between Denver and
Because
Orlando?
you're casual. You're
I
obviously
mean, if that's the
casual.
only
You don't
game
watch-
on, why wouldn't I watch
See,
it?
he just said the only game on. I mean,
No,
No,
like,
I mean, it
why
depends.
wouldn't
I mean,
you?
it depends on other games. Like,
You guys are insane. Why wouldn't you want to watch Jokic versus Paulo?
no, I mean, I'm just saying it depends. Like,
That's an
what
awful
other
example.
games are on.
Like, well, no, I mean, in this example, it'd be the only game on national television.
no,
oh
I
yeah, I would
didn't
watch
say-
that.
That was an example.
No, so what else
My-
would it be? If like what is it?
My example was there's 7 or 8 NFL games on. In the NBA, let's say there's 6 to 8 games on. And
the
the
NBA
game,
is a stars league. People watch the stars. Okay, people.
Okay.
Cleveland,
And Paulo
Cleveland, people
Banchero-
watch. fucking
Paulo
Cleveland.
Bancaro is going to be a star in this league.
And
Nikola
people
Jokic
gonna
is
watch him
already a
play.
star
I
in
don't
this
see
league.
what your argument is.
I'm saying Orlando got one nationally televised game last year, and now they
Because
proved that
they
they
were
were good.
fucking 26
Let me
win team
finish,
the year
let me finish.
before. Like, what do you?
Now
what do
they
you
were
think?
good this year. So I'm
That's
going
like
to
giving
see.
Charlotte fucking
I'm gonna
20
see-
games. Okay.
Well, no,
don't give Charlotte 20 games.
well, I mean,
I'm
my
saying
point
if
is-
you're betting on getting better, then that's an awful way to view it because
My
there's limited
point
how many
is-
games they can broadcast.
My point
You have to
is,
pick and
it seems like you've said that a lot of the bigger market teams are on the decline. You said The Lakers are on the decline. We talked about the Warriors and what they'll potentially do. Brooklyn obviously isn't great right now. Philly, we don't know what's going to happen to them. These teams are kind of on the decline, whereas
Brooklyn A isn't a big market, just because
what do you
no
mean?
one's watching.
Hey,
They're in a big
I
city,
don't-
but
I
I wouldn't
don't
say
think-
they're not like.
I don't think the Lakers are going to be a decline because they know it's going to be LeBron's last couple of years.
The Lakers are gonna get their time. I mean, that's the thing. Like the Lakers, like the Nets
Yeah.
aren't the fucking Lakers.
Yeah.
That's like saying the Clippers. That's like the Nets are to the Knicks, like the Clippers are to the Lakers. Okay.
Yeah,
That's like
exactly.
saying why aren't Clippers getting games? Because of the fucking Clippers. There's a reason why. And I think that at the end of the day, I think the NBA does a good job of marketing players, marketing teams, but based off what limited resources they have. Like you can't really market in Minnesota. It snows,
I don't know.
Or Toronto.
I just think that the NBA is going to have a point where their superstars are now in small markets, and they're going to really have to work to market these guys to where they can be as big as our superstars of this past couple of years have been. Because in the past couple of years, they've been in the big markets to where Joel Embiid is playing in Philly, LeBron is playing in Los Angeles, Steph Curry's playing in the Bay. I mean, these guys have all played in big markets. Kawhi Leonard's playing.
I'd say the Bay isn't.
I mean, not even in
market.
The Bay is
insanely.
It isn't the same.
No,
No,
the Bay's a big market.
The Bay is a big
is.
market.
Okay, the Golden State Warriors before Steph were not exactly like a box office draw. Steph made them who they are. So when Steph isn't there anymore, or he isn't at his best, they're not going to get the same viewership.
The Bay is a big market.
Am I wrong?
The Bay is
what I said wrong, though. Is what I said wrong?
No, it's
Exactly.
part of the marketability. And Anthony Edwards is going to be
uncircumcised.
Anthony Edwards is going to be a very good player in Minnesota, and we're going to see how they're able to market him in a town like Minnesota. I think they will, but it'll remain to be seen.
I think we should bring on a fellow marketing major that we know onto this pod, and he could give his opinions
that is
on
true.
I'm an
marketing.
economics major. Let me debate this stuff, guys.
All right, well,
save the numbers to me. Save the money to me.
All right. No. We gotta know how much the Pacers contributes to Indiana's economy. That's what you'll
What's all know
analyze.
about economics history? I haven't been to them tomorrow. I haven't studied. I barely studied.
okay. Well, let's get on. Let's
Go
go.
Shout out to the
study.
Great Depression.
Shout
out to raising
Recessions.
interest rates.
Really good
Real
episode.
thugs love gold.
Thanks for watching episode 13 of Before the Buzzer. As always,
Love you,
follow all our platforms: Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Keep up with all the latest in the NBA playoffs. Come back next week where give you updates on these second round matchups. Should be fun. Maybe we even have a surprise guest. You never know. Have to check the Instagram to see. But
Foreshadowing.
For the boys, thanks for tuning in. Great episode today, boys.
Love you guys.
See you guys next
Bye.
time.
Love you, twins.
Peace.